Good to have you back. If you are just joining us, this is Firecrackers and we're about to get started. If you would agree with me, this past week has been filled with drama. First, the one in Rivers State, and then just a little into the week, we also had the one of NLC President Joe Ajaero that was beaten. Although Imo State Police, they released a statement later that day and said that they did not beat him, they took him away for his own protection. But now we have NLC threatening strike that if they do not arrest those that were involved in the brutalization of the president, then there might be a strike. So let us begin with that. How did you assess the whole issue that NLC ran into in Imo State when they went there to protest?
Well, it's a very unfortunate development, which incidentally signposts the kind of democracy we have currently in Nigeria, and especially in Imo State. It's quite unfortunate that the chief helmsman of Labour, the poster boy, as it were, of Labour in Nigeria, could get down to the states to conduct a democratic duty, a law-backed duty, which is to protest on behalf of his members. Remember, the president had the due votes cast to make him president and to represent and to speak on behalf of the entire Labour in Nigeria. And then getting to their secretariat in Imo State, where this kind of sour event took place. It's a very negative signpost of what Nigeria has become, and especially in Imo State. It's quite unfortunate that the helmsman could be so brutalized. The pictures we saw, despite the denials of the police, you see, one thing is that it's so easy to issue statements, which is what we always see in Nigeria at the end of the events. But for those, the thousands, the hundreds who were there, who saw everything live, they said that initially a group of thugs in about 10 minivans came in and then scattered the protesters. At that time, the president wasn't there. But then, the people, because of their resolve to carry out the plan for the day, the workers came back, regrouped in their own secretariat, not on the streets, not in government house, not in police command or barracks. Then came the police with thugs and one of the special advisors to the governor on special duties. And this time they bundled the president, injured someone. Of course, one person is feared dead from the reports we got, including your colleagues, the journalists. They were not left. Cameras were damaged, phones were taken. Of course, it turned to any other thing you can think about. Negative signpost of our nation. At the end of the day, the president was nowhere to be seen, only to be released hours later. And the picture, which is all over the media, is that of brutalization of the face. Injuries, they said the left eye, as at the time I was going to the press that day, was not yet open, or wasn't able to be opened. That was exactly what happened. And then the government came out. Of course, the police denied, as usual. The Imo State government denied. So who did that? At whose behest did the policemen that came in there come? They said they came to rescue him. Rescue him from what? When the Labour of a nation, a group as big as the Labour Congress, with their national president, signifies their intention to embark on protest, automatically that should put the police on standby to offer protection. They call it protest, not strike, not armed demonstration or disturbances. Protest, which is their strongest weapon. It's so shameful that that could happen in Imo State. But like I said, to many people, it didn't come as a surprise because of the antecedents of the present government that holds sway in Imo State. It's so shameful, and I must condemn it in every respect. Okay, all right.
If we are to weigh people's reaction to what took place in Imo State, the scale seems to be tipping on the side that a lot of people are starting to lose hope in the NLC because they've gone on strike so many times this year, and people are beginning to question the credibility of NLC president, that perhaps he's doing it more for the politics rather than after the interest of workers. What do you think of that?
Yes, if like you said, people have or hold that opinion, which they have a right to hold. For me, at the time, I also began to question how impactful and how effective NLC has become in the face of hardship of work, of the hardship being faced by Nigerians and workers. A lot of Nigerians, because of the inability to belong to groups, the majority of Nigerians don't have any specific group that brings them together. So they look up to NLC. That whenever NLC should sneeze, the government should catch cold, as it used to be in those days. That should not detract from what happened in Imo State. That's something we should also be careful about. They didn't call for strike. Of course, there was to be strike to commence the next day, Thursday. They began their protest on Wednesday. Despite the weaknesses or the avowed or the perceived weaknesses, the perceived areas of, what will I call it, weakness, or how the presidency of the NLC and the administration have, in one way or the other, worked hand in hand or hand in glove with the government against the workers. Despite that, you cannot in any way justify what happened in Imo within the past week, because this is a right that they have. If they say they are going on protest to call on a strike, the best I thought the government could do was to call their leaders to sit down. And let's hear what you have. They have a list of what happened for which they were going to go on strike. Of course, the governor came out and said that they were getting involved in the politics of the state. On the 11th of November, coming Saturday, there will be a governorship election in that state. He felt it was the wrong timing, and that perhaps the Labour Congress was being used by unseen powers to do that. Okay, so despite the kind of compromise you could say the NLC have been involved in the past number of years, something of the nature of what they came to Imo State to do should be excused. You could not say because they have done this in the past, they didn't have the right to do it in the state. What I believe democracy is all about is engagements. Okay, civil engagement. The government ought to have brought them, sit down with them. If at the end of the day they go back out of Owerri to their respective bases and they didn't achieve what they came to Owerri to do, and then people say they have compromised, it's left for the members of the Congress, the labor union members of different segments, different affiliates, to now say, no, you have done this once, twice, thrice. You came to Imo, you didn't achieve what you came for. You went to dine with the governor. Now we declare you, we issue a vote of no confidence on you. It's left for the members. But that having not been done, I think, and I seriously believe, that it was wrong for them to be treated that way. I'm saying this because, you see, there are big allegations and counter allegations between groups in Imo State and the government, led by Governor Uzodimma. And most of these allegations have not been positive. These are negative concerns raised by people about how people are treated, how that Imo State is under the jackboot of a mafia godfather and all that. Now, this is an opportunity, or this was an opportunity presented last week for you to change that narrative. He bungled it. That's where I'm going. So he has all again given credence to what people know, what people say, that the Imo State has become under his regime. I believe he lost a major opportunity to paint a different picture. What did it take him to call them up, sit them down? And if, like you earlier said, that the NLC has been compromising, why don't you compromise them? Since it's what people are saying, and then they will leave the state peacefully. He resorted to what happened. Is this now going to stop the strike that they will?
Well, according to Uzodimma, he said that he was trying to defend and protect the NLC president, not try to get him beaten up, because that was what he said.
Under which custody was he then brutalized so much that the pictures we saw, they didn't get it. That was a beating beyond just a slap. Picture of the NLC president showed so much anguish. Man had gone through. And for that picture to have been taken, I'm sure a lot of palliative work must have gone on before the picture. Despite that, you could see the face when the picture was released. I don't think that that's the truth. There was no way at any time he was kept in safe custody, or they were trying to get him out from the mall. As a matter of fact, I want to repeat, when a group as big as that signifies intention to protest, it's the lawful duty of the police to provide cover for them and make sure hoodlums do not hijack it. I still repeat it, and that is not just the practice, it is the law. Coincidentally, in this case, it behoves, like I said, on the governor to come out and say what happened at jail, the NLC president.
Now, you mentioned democracy quite a number of times when you were communicating your point. If we are to go by the layman definition of democracy, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And recently, just the beginning of this week, Atiku Abubakar said that our democracy is on life support, as the case may be, because of what happened during the Supreme Court's verdict. So now that it seems as if the will of people is not being respected, it is not being carried out, would you say that you also agree with this point of view that our democracy might rightly be on life support?
The truth is that from what happened, judging from what happened between February this year and now, every person of goodwill in Nigeria should be concerned. It's unfortunate that a lot of things have been brought down to the level of law, as in the letter of the law, not the spirit of the law. And because we have the system which we still want to cherish, a system of separation of powers, wherein disputes end up in court. And then to these people, whatever the court says, however outlandish it may be, don't forget that those men and women there are human beings who could come into error, and it's our work, it's our duty to let them know that some of your decisions could end up creating or occasioning hardship. So at that point where they show their humanness, where they show their weaknesses, the weakness of the flesh, it's a duty. We owe them a duty to call them out and say, no, this is wrong. So, and this is something I believe that every man and woman of goodwill should look at and try to weigh in on concerning what happened in Nigeria in 2023. The year is not yet over, but it will go down in history as a year that a lot of divide, a further divide of Nigerians, depending on, on different axes. You could have the political division, you have the angles that talk about our weaknesses of ethnicity. Those divides we have further exacerbated this year. This year, the 2023 will go down in history as the year that these divisions we have further deepened. And then, like I said, the group that sees everything from that angle of law. What does the law say in this situation? And then the escape route is there for the judges to give their decisions. This group should also have everything, because one thing we have to have it clear is that whereas the majority of the people are not able to sit the way I'm sitting to speak out on national television, this group bear the brunt of whatever decisions take up there. They may not have people that speak for them. They are watching. They are going about their daily activities in pain. A day will come when, if we are not careful, the whole house will fall. And when it falls both on those who are speaking and on those who are not speaking. Those who said, go on this way or go on that way. So to talk about Atiku, he gave his expression, the expression of what he felt was wrong or not right in the entire thing that happened from the day of election till the end of litigation at the Supreme Court. Many people dismissed his views. Like I said, it's either you're on this side or you're on this side. A lot of the winning side dismissed it. Some also not even politically inclined dismissed it. At the end of the day, what should be our takeaway from what he said? We should look critically at what led to where we are. How were the elections conducted? Let's leave political leaning. But at the end of the day, we still see people who will have to give their views based on their political inclination. However clean a thing may be, as long as it doesn't agree with their inclination, they will say it's not clean. One however white a thing is, they will say it's not white, but any other color. And that is where the problem is. So we do politics to the detriment of our well-being, the well-being of our children, the well-being of the state, to the detriment of everything noble. And then want people to sleep. As they say, the person who has murdered sleep will not sleep himself. So we need to be careful. Former VP Atiku has expressed his opinion, called a conference, said what he said, and has gone. It's now left for those who want to hear. If we keep dismissing everything people want to say, carrying on with business as usual, definitely we will be digging a hole. By the time we see how deep it is, it will be difficult for us to come out from it.
All right. So, if we look at how the past administration handled activism and protest, especially the climax being what happened during the NSAS period, and we have a new administration, and we have something like this just into the early months of the administration. We have demonstration of protest, of demonstration of ill feelings. We have it in a way being sanctioned. How would you rate this administration's welcomeness to activism and people trying to portray how they feel about the current state of the nation?
Well, if we are looking at it from the angle of what happened in Imo, then we have to circumscribe it to the state government, which is the administration in Imo State. If you're looking at it from the perspective of the federal government, well, we've not had serious issues where people came out to protest and they were fired on, like what happened at the NSAS. Of course, the NLC had called for strikes in the past number of months, which held, I think, once, and then the government called them for dialogue. At the end of the day, they said they were suspending for 30 days to see how the government would implement what they agreed on, including the 35% that will be added to the workers' take-home pay for a number of months. The truth is that the government has not been tested. This new government of the federal has not been tested as it were by a major protest, where the Nigerians have come out to voice their feelings at what is going on. We don't have that. We have not had that yet. It's until we have that we can now know how the government will react to it. So I'm not going to be judging them from that angle. I don't think there is something that has happened that we used to say this government is not welcome. Of course, what happened in Imo State, I said, is going to be consigned to that state, because we have the three-part structure, the three-tier structure of government, the federal, the state, and the local. So that specifically is consigned to Imo. The federal level, no, we have not had that yet. Until we have that, then we can now see how the government will react to it, whether by way of the NSAS kind of reaction, or coming out to dialogue with Nigerians. But like I just said earlier, we need to also gauge the feelings every day of Nigerians. The past, immediate past Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, while speaking in one of the forums last week, stopped short of lambasting Nigerians as people who are very docile. So instead of Nigerians to rise up to demonstrate, to protest, they will go and commit suicide. And then the government and politicians will go on doing whatever they like. And when policies that are near extinctive in nature, extinctive of the very existence of Nigerians, and you expect Nigerians to rise up, Nigerians still go deeper into their shell, complaining to anybody that cares to listen, and not doing that one thing, which is to stand up to the government, coming out to the streets and say, no, this is enough. He stopped short of really lambasting Nigerians on that occasion. I said, well, you are now out of government and you are saying, what if you had said this while you are in government? Would the government of that day where you were part of it, would they allow you to hold power? No, it's convenient to say some things when you're out of the office. But what he said, if you look at the message and not the messenger, it has a lot of sense in it. It has some veracity. Nigerians in the past And I believe it's due to how politicians have divided Nigerians, the ease and the speed with which they quickly weaken organized protests or even spontaneous protests. Apart from the NSAS, but the NSAS cost the government of the day nothing. They never believed it could come to that point. So by the time they now came to check NSAS, it had become a huge behemoth. Bullets were now fired, which up till now they are still denying. Okay? Why don't these protests, they are quick to break down agreements. You look at your name, you look at the other person's name and say, come, you people are not from the same place. You are so person, you are people in power now. You see these people, they want to use you to affect your brother who is in power. If I look at you and you're of this religion, the other person of the other religion, they will say, don't you know that the government is populated by this social religion? Don't follow these people. They are part of. You see these divisions. You see these cleavages. Ethnicity, tribe, tongue, religion, and where you are coming from. Of course, political inclination. By the time 1, 2 cards are played, there is a breakdown in the unionism of that group. And everybody goes on, and they have seen this and they understand this language. As long as that happens, it's going to be very difficult for Nigerians to come out again and as a group and say, this is it.
Especially when it was marred with loss of life and a lot of bloodshed. We will have to leave that. I do not think that might be so encouraging for people to come out. Because what also happened in Imo State too, do you feel like that too could probably discourage NLC too from coming out to protest? Because it was their president that was brutalized.
They have called for some, they made a resolution calling for the sack, like you just said, at least the deployment of the Commissioner of Police, and of course the sack, the area commander, a number of other people that should be arrested and tried. Failing which, by Wednesday, coming Wednesday, which should be the 8th of November, they will go on a nationwide as a national strike, a nationwide strike, not just Imo now. And that is true to force the hand of the government of the center to take cognizance of what happened in Imo State. And that's the power of unionism, that's the power of labor, if they can get it right.
Definitely, definitely.